Hey, guys. Altavis Pelzer here, your voice manager, and I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long. Super excited to bring you yet another episode of the #SpeakEasy podcast, where we go behind the scenes talking about what it means to be the successfully paid speaker and author. Now, I know you saw the title, and I know some of you have been like, yes, we have been waiting patiently, Altavis, waiting for this episode, because right now everybody's trying to figure out what's next. The ... we're trying to figure out what that ... is going to look like for live events, for speakers, for vendors, as we move forward and all of these opportunities are starting to open up. And one of the most valuable things you have is your name. What's the integrity that comes with it? What is the impact that comes with it? What's the power behind your name? And so that's why I'm super excited to have our guest on for today. And so, hello, well, I would say good morning. It is morning right now.
Yeah.
But hello, Miss Kearn, how are you?
Yeah, fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. It has been an amazing experience during quarantine, being able to hop on some of the opportunities that you had out, and of course, some of the other greats that have been around doing some good things for those speakers and entrepreneurs all around the nation and the globe. So that part. But I want you to tell the Speakeasy podcasters a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into today's topic.
Well, I'm Kearn-Cherry. I'm a speaker, coach, author, entrepreneur, and collaborator. I love collaborating. I'm the owner of PR and Home Care. We've been in business for over 23 years, my husband and I, Dennis. And I am the co-founder of Success Women's Conference, where we average over 1,000 women in attendance every year. That's our live event. And then in addition to that, I also have coming up new my Power Up Summit. I'll talk more at the end about that. And I am the visionary author behind the new book that's coming out late June, Trailblazers Who Lead, with 29 voices being shared inside of that collaboration. So that's pretty much who I am. A mother of three successful kids, and my grandson. Have to put that little plug in.
Aww. And so, I love that we're having this discussion, because I knew the name of Miss Kearn before I knew who you were. And that's why I think it's so significant for this particular episode, because a lot of times when coming into the industry, people look to mimic and kind of imitate someone else instead of just, cultivating who they are. So with that being said, how did Kearn come about? Like, you're a powerhouse right now. How did you get to that point?
Well, first of all, I love what you said. You knew the name before you actually met me. And that speaks to what I'm preaching right now. Personal brand is important, no matter if you have a career, a job working for somebody, or whether you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business. You have a personal brand. Everybody has a personal brand, and I highly recommend that during this time of COVID, that you take a moment, you take time, and just make sure you're putting your personal brand out there, because you never know when you're going to be looking for something else. And of course, I advise creating multiple streams of income. But I have, as I said before, I've been in business a long time. I've been building conferences for over 15 years now. And so for me, it's all about connecting, building relationships, and collaborating. To me, that's how you, push yourself out there further and quicker. When people, you can't, and I want to tell people, you can do things on your own, but it's going to take you a lot longer to do it, right? And it's going to cost you more money. if you're building an event or something, because if you're collaborating, that actually saves you money, and it saves you time, and it saves you energy. But you also are now tapping into that, your partner's tribe as well. So you're actually tapping into each other's tribe, and it's building your brand. That's exactly how I wind up knowing people without meeting them first. It's because other people who I collaborated or connect with know me, and they're talking about me outside of me actually meeting and being introduced to them personally. So that's why it's really important when you're connecting. Always think about, you want to make sure that you're connecting to that person, listening to that person, giving them something, send them referrals and things like that, because people are going to speak to your brand, speak to who you are based off what you're delivering. If you're a taker and that's how you move, then you're only going to get in the take mode. But if you're a giver, people are always going to give back to you. I mean, it's biblical. Give and you shall receive without even asking. So do that. Always apply that.
I know one of the biggest things that comes with that is your authenticity. Like, oh my goodness, one of the things for me coming into the industry years ago was that I didn't look the part. I didn't look the part of a speaker. I didn't look the part of an author. I wasn't coming on. I wasn't showing up at every event with a dress on. I just didn't look the part. I even had someone say to me when I got off stage, you need to go get a what are they called now that sucks you all in? And I was just like,
wow.
Well, how about the content though? But
wow.
it was that consistency in being authentically me and showing up as authentically me that allowed me to be in positions where I could meet women such as yourself and, have conversations even like these. Because if I would have attempted to look the part, it was a part that I wasn't meant to stand in.
Right. So being yourself. So let me say, being yourself and being authentically you is important. When, I always tell people, you get what you see, because I'm pretty much just, I try to be blunt without being rude and considerate of other people's feeling, because that's really critical that you do that. I mean, people's feelings do matter, but being straight up instead of beating the bush also matters as well. So that being said, when applying looks does matter, because looks always do matter, but it matters in a certain way. It's not what size you are and, what color you are and things like that. And when you hear me say that, that's not what I'm applying, because I am certainly not a thin person. But that being said, being you, making sure that you have, donned the makeup. When you go on video, I'm like, hey, you're on stage, so get your makeup ready. Wear the appropriate clothes, and it doesn't matter whether it's a pantsuit or whatever. And if you're that person that wears African accent and that's your style, just make sure it looks good, right? So that is, to me, that's looking the part, having your makeup banging so that people can see you from the stage, wearing your clothes. Hey, if you're that suit lady that wants to wear a suit, wear that suit. If you're that woman that wants to wear the African attire, wear that African attire, because when you try to be somebody else, now I'm just telling you, I remember telling somebody told me, you don't fit the culture. I'm like, wow, really? Okay, well, that's fine. I don't fit the culture. And they wasn't talking color. Anyway, so the bottom line is, And I told one of my friends, I said, I don't need nobody to tell me how to wear my hair, what length, what style, and what type of clothes to put on. When you see me and I want to wear and look fabulous, I'm going to do that. When you see me and I'm dressed down, I'm going to do that too. So, but always when you're on stage, people buy brands. And so you have to remember, speak to your brand. Make sure that you're representing well. I told somebody last year, one of my the fashion director for Success Women's Conference called me earlier and said, "Can I dress you?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's less work for me. I don't have to think through anything. So you're gonna style me, man? Best investment ever. I mean, just the clothes. I didn't have to think of anything. She's got that eye and that creativity. So I tell speakers, man, get you a stylist. If you are hosting your event, have a stylist present. Make sure they fit your brand. Secondly, if you are speaking, get with your stylist early. My stylist sends me clothes when she's like, "What are you doing this month? I'm gonna send you something to wear, blah, blah, blah," because she knows my brand. So yes. And then people are gonna say things about your style. Well, it's your style. It's not their style. You don't need to try to be them. Be yourself, because people buy people. People do not buy products. They buy people. They buy what you're selling because they believe in you. So be you.
Oh my goodness, that part. And so it brings us right into the next thing, because we are in a changing time. Let's just be honest. Nothing is going the way that we thought it was. 2020 does not look like our vision board or our SMART goals at all. So going into this next realm and into this next journey, as the nation is starting to open up, people are starting to think about if they're going to do international travel and things of that nature. What is the next step that you want to say to speakers who are kind of like in a state of confusion? Do I try to do events? Do I try to go virtual? Like, what should be the next thing for them?
Well, I can tell you this. If you're sitting and waiting, that is a total no-no. This is the time. I always say, yes, COVID is not what we wanted, but it's also a time of awakening. You should be taking advantage at this time. Let's flip this on its head and make it and take advantage of what I say is a God-given time to build your brand. And that means that just because we can't show up live in a person, you can actually do things online. You can actually do events online. You can do networking online. I say go join. First off, start with this. Start with joining some of these women groups on Facebook and other social media. Start being a part of the conversation. Be seen, be heard. Be seen as many times as you can. Matter of fact, make it a point to just sign up for things. Also, in addition to that, join some of these webinars, workshops, conferences. Get on there, and then don't just sit as the black box on the screen that nobody can see who you are, right? Because you are trying to create your brand. You're trying to say, hey, this is me. I'm so-and-so. This is my name. We can see your name at the bottom of the box. So we associate face with names. So we are still doing this. We're still doing networking. It's just not, I can touch you networking. And even when it goes back, a lot of people aren't going to be doing a lot of touching. So that being said, one of the things I do is I teach people how to build profitable events, whether it's live or virtual. And so what I'm saying to you is you need to be out creating. This is a creative time. This is an opportunity to collaborate. Take some of those connections, see what they're doing, see who's lining up with you, because I always say you want to be equally yoked, just like it says in the Bible. You'll know that by building relationships with people and forming those collaborations. It's important. That's how Success Women's Conference was birthed. We had over 540 people at the first conference, which we built in I think, between 6 to 9 months. But that's because we had a relationship. We built a relationship, and it turned it into a collaboration. So, yes, be active now. Get on different social media sites. Don't just do Facebook. Do Instagram, Twitter, and my goodness, shame on you if you're not on LinkedIn. I always tell people LinkedIn is it. It is where, if you notice, all the big organizations are there. They're look, where do you think they're gonna look when they start advertising for job hiring? They're gonna and they're gonna look to see where you are. So LinkedIn is it's underutilized. I think it has 63 or 630 million or something like that. People are part of it now, but everybody's there. Amazon, Walmart, you name it, Chick-fil-A, all that. I reached out one time to the Chick-fil-A marketing person. Never met him before in my life, and I'm talking about the chief of marketing. And he eventually reached back because they're there. They're business people, and they understand that, well, I need to at least address this conversation. Now, I'm not saying go on. You treat LinkedIn, social media, all that the same, just like you would in person. Do not go up to somebody and start selling them as soon as you meet them. You want to go in and introduce yourself, but at the same time, you want to create that conversation with them. That's why a lot of people ask for a discovery call. Those 15 to 30 minute, first time I meet you, here's what I do, let's see what you do, and maybe we can form a collaboration. LinkedIn, I can tell you I have 21,000 followers plus on LinkedIn.
That's significant. And I know it's significant because I know your journey. And so some of the Speak Easy podcast listeners may not know it, but I know you talk about how you were able to get some of the speakers, the headliners that you had come on for the Success Summit, the Success Conference. Mm-hmm. And so give them insight into that so they know that when Miss Kearn is talking, she's not just talking from something she heard. She's walked the walk when it comes to creating meaningful conversations that lead up to something greater.
Oh yeah, I've actually recruited speakers, sponsors. I've had book deals as far as being approached for that, podcast, all type of things from being on social media, particularly LinkedIn. I have from a person on the other side. So having success and having that many people in attendance, I also look at and I screen out the speakers. Last year, I screened out over 400 applicants for speakers. And from that, I started to realize, because my partner had actually been doing some of that before, and so, or we would do it together, but I actually just stopped and started looking at what people were sending in. So I did a write-up actually in Speaker Magazine last year. And I said, let me give 5 top tips, please, to you speakers when you are applying. And I'm saying, speakers, please have this as your number one thing that you always have done. Always have a bio. And have a short bio, have a full bio, short bio, a mini bio. Have those at your fingertips so you don't have to spend time looking for it. A great high resolution headshot. That means not your phone. That means you have to have a professional shot. It does matter. You should have, speaker one sheets are great. They're great, but in addition to your bio, because sometimes the speaker one sheet does not have that. website. If you have a website, please use it and please update it. And then in addition to that, I tell people, video, you got to have something. 2 minutes, do something. The speaker reels, those are great advertisement pieces, but most people are not putting in their speaker reel speaking. So you send me something and I see an ad of you, but I don't hear your voice. So what I'm going to be looking for as a conference director, and for one who chose over 100 speakers last year, I'm looking, let me hear what your voice sounds like. I'm not talking about how it sounds. If it sounds, mine is raspy, as you can see, but I'm talking about how you project, how you present yourself. Are you professional? Are you just a newbie and maybe you need to be a panelist? Or are you at your top of your game? And we need to look at, hey, maybe this is a keynote. So think about that. How you present yourself is important. And also be real. Put down some of the places you've spoken before. Because sometimes people are trying to play big when they really are just small and they need to build up to being big. So think about that. And so I'm just telling you, connect to people on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever you do, and make sure you tell them a snippet about who you are when you're doing their introduction as well.
Okay, so Ms. Kearn just dropped, I don't know how many gems on y'all. So I hope y'all were taking notes. If not, stop it, pause it, go back and rewind, and definitely write those down. And it leads us into this next statement that I want to say, because as a speaker, as someone who has worked behind the scene with speakers, and I'm saying this before you reach out to Ms. Kearn, is understand that reciprocity is so important, even as a speaker. And so how you show up before, during, and after an event matters. And I think a lot of times from the event host perspective, they don't really talk about it to the speakers, but amongst event hosts, amongst, conference coordinators, they talk about how, listen, as a speaker, we want you to be fully involved in this. Are you marketing? Are you, staying to talk with guests? Are you taking photos? Are you building the conversation? Because, when it comes to, you showing up, that's part of who you are. That's part of your brand and your name. So with that being said, what would you say, I would say, is the top 2 things that you love seeing speakers do who have an opportunity to be on your platform?
So I'm going to tell you, my daughter calls me a cyber stalker because I do really check out people's pages. It is important. They call me the butts in the seat queen for a reason because I believe you should build or have a tribe, but I am looking to see if you are a person that shares. So a lot of people believe in keeping their Facebook page clean, their LinkedIn page. You don't share. So I'm thinking, unless you have a name like a Lisa-Nichols, unless you're at that level of George Fraser, those Les Brown, you need to prove that you are a commodity, that you don't mind sharing about this conference that you have the privilege to be a part of, whether you're paid or not paid, or whether you're paying or not paying. They only have so many slots. That's what people don't know. As a conference director, we're looking through and we're trying to decide who do we pick. And then if somebody is similar, and this is just like you see on TV, when you see American Idol and all those places, okay, they're very similar. Which one do we pick? So I'm gonna look, okay, she only has 1,000 following over here. She has 5,000 following over here. She shares, she doesn't. I can tell you that she shares, she doesn't is gonna rank real high with me. I'm looking for that. We've had a lot of people that come on and say, I do this and I do that. I'm looking for your video. I'm looking to see where you were. I've been here and I've been there. I'm like, something's not adding up. And then, of course, we have contacts. We have contacts that are going to help us say, hey, do you know this person? I heard about her. Trust me, your brand and who you present yourself as matters. So if people know you as somebody that don't tell the complete truth, boom. If they know you as a person who just likes to attach yourself to something that's running smooth so you can build yourself. We've often been told over the years that, hey, some of these people, you're creating their platform. Some of these people, you're building their platform. You have a national brand with over 1,000 in attendance. Either they need to be paying or you don't need to be using them, or they definitely need to be somebody that promotes your event. So, I mean, really and truly, that what you do inside of, being invited, that's just part of the equation. Being invited is just part of the equation. You as a speaker are an ambassador in a different way. You are an ambassador for that conference. So they show that conference director, how you can help them and be invited so that you can be invited back over and over, like Cheryl Wood, who's come to our conference since being a keynote, because she is not only is she a trailblazer, but she gets it. I'm going to help. When she came last year, oh my goodness, her and the rest of the people from DC bought tribes with them. I mean, they just kind of took over, right? But that's what you do. You're a speaker. Those conferences need you to help put butts in the seats. That's why they select you. And so if you get in and you're not one of those people, well, you need to show that you're worth it. And I also say, take advantage of the opportunities while you're there. I don't know how many speakers last year, but I can tell you there were a lot that benefited from being that success. They left with clients. They left with many clients, and they made money. So you want to take advantage of that too. You want to make sure that you're connecting with others, because then that conference becomes the conference that you go to get connected, and people talk about that. So help that conference build their brand by building yours too.
Okay, mic drop. That was it. Mic drop. Oh my goodness. I'm sitting here and I'm like, yes. Because again, like I said, that is one of the areas of speaking that unfortunately a lot of coaches do not cover. They don't talk about it. It's kind of one of those taboo topics behind closed doors, but it's definitely something that is needed, because as we come out of, quarantine and COVID-19, there are so many opportunities available for people. People have been getting speaking opportunities for some of the major companies and brands, right now, for conferences that'll be happening in 2021 and later in 2020. And so it's really significant how you show up. And man, when you said, prove that you are a commodity, I think I'm going to have to change the title and make that the title of this episode. Prove that you are a commodity, because you're not just proving it when someone is talking to you about an opportunity. You're proving it beforehand. You're putting in the work before you get the contract, before you get the yes, before you have the conversation. It's your consistency in showing up that's proving that you are the commodity. So that, completely just mic drop. I absolutely love that. And it brings me to my question that I always ask every speaker or author that comes onto the platform is, what has been a blunder for you in this journey? What is something that you look back right now and you're like, that wasn't the best, option or idea for, what we were doing at that moment?
Oh, wow. I can tell you last year we had a lot of those. Oh my goodness. So perfect timing on that question. Look, last year, Success moved to the largest facility on the coast outside of his sister building that sits next to it. We were at the Coliseum Convention Center, and it just swallowed the whole conference, and it's how we set it up. You know, any building that's meant to adapt to the conference can be set up appropriately so it doesn't feel like it swallows you. So we went in and we just chose rooms and had breakouts here and there. And what people at Success were used to is the closeness of the conference, right? So when lisa-nichols came, I remember Cheryl Wood coming up to me and saying, "Oh wow, this was just even better." And I was thinking, well, the year you came was like off the chart better, you know. And so anyway, my thoughts were what we had done is that we spread it ourselves over that building, which is a very big building, and we should have shrunk down and kept it compact so that it feels like the place that we were before, because we grew when lisa-nichols was there to over 1,000 plus. We had lisa-nichols and Robin Roberts in the house, and it was just this amazing energy. You know that God is present when all the people are talking about the energy in the building, right? Well, I'm like, well, that's just God, because trust me, we're just doing what he would have us do. Some of this stuff is not playing. So anyway, so we learned that you have to be smarter. Don't go in just because you have the space and use all the space. Sometimes you have to cut it down and be smart about your space. And as a planner and a conference developer, sometimes you have to even go in closer to and cut it down even more so that it looks and feels, the energy just feels alive. So that was just one of the things that we learned from that conference. But it was a great learning experience. I do have to say, every year of Success, we learned something new, and COVID definitely hasn't made it any different. We learned something new. So yes.
I love it. So let everybody, because I know right now they're probably like, okay, I want to know about the conferences. How can I get attached? How can I serve? Can I volunteer? Where do I get my ticket? So let them know about the summit and the conference, and also how they can connect with you personally, either on or offline.
Okay, great questions. So first off, Success, as I said before, we've never had less than 500 people, 540 people in our conference. That being said, after reassessing, we felt like we needed to do something even more innovative this year. We're going virtual, but we're going virtual in a very big way. We're teaming up. Remember what I told y'all before? When you're working with a conference, make yourself known. So we're teaming up with some of our previous people that have been speakers every year, Trevor and Shay. So we're going to team up with their team to bring you a conference with breakouts and all that type of stuff. So it'll be new and it'll be innovative and things like that. We're always looking to lead in the industry as much as we can. So it's going virtual. It'll be mid-September, so we're adjusting our dates as well. So look forward to it. It's always been mostly in September. So again, it is in September. I just have to adjust those dates again. Go to our website, successconference.info. Now, if you are a speaker, you need to be putting in an application right now. Put your application in right now. I normally keep those applications open, but then when we update it, we need your updated version. So put it in, fill out all the blocks. If you don't have a video you speaking, see what we're on right now. Zoom. Zoom take you a few minutes, get your makeup on, your hair done, whatever, and go in Zoom and create you the 2 to 5 minute video, if not longer, and make sure you attach it when you submit your application. Then number 2, well, success is not here, but Power Up Summit. Power Up Summit was supposed to be in New Orleans, one of my favorite cities, about an hour from me, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it back home. It's a smaller conference. We're looking at maybe 100 or so people in attendance. That's what I've always projected. So therefore, and look, when I say smaller, that's my idea of smaller. I'm used to 400, 500, 600, 1,000 people. So please don't take that as a criticism. It's just what I call it smaller. Anyway, and especially for COVID, it works for me. Anyway, that will be July the 31st through August the 2nd. And remember, there will not be that many live events this year. So even though you hear everybody moving their event to October and November and so on, do not think that just because people are planning this, that everything is going to happen. We are planning, people are planning, and then things are going to shift. That's why mine is in the hottest months that can be here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, July the 31st through August the 2nd. PowerUpSummit.com, and come power up your speaking, your coaching, your business, your career. We're going to bring in some top speakers. And trust me, you need to start paying attention because you're going to start seeing them come across there. So PowerUpSummit.com. In addition to that, I want to say, look for my book, Trailblazers Who Lead. I have some top people that are part of that. Gloria Mayfield Banks. Yes, super bad all day long. Cheryl Wood. Yes, Miss International Motivational Speaker. And also Teresa Royal Brown, that secret sauce person, always moving in silence. Those are my expert and forward writers in that book. All 3 of them are amazing women doing amazing things, and that's why they're trailblazers, along with my unsung trailblazers who are also a part of this, sharing their story as well. So make sure to look for that in the end of June. It'll be coming out.
Guys, this is why I love this platform. You have gotten some nuggets, you've gotten some great information, but also those of you that have been saying, what am I going to do about a speaking opportunity? How am I going to get myself out there? You just got insight, first dibs on what it is that you can do. Step out that comfort zone. This is the time. This is the opportunity. And do your quick video. Go ahead, show up authentically you. Make sure that you are showing people who you are, who you serve, and how you serve, because you know that's what we're all about over here on the Speak Easy podcast. And guys, this is the time to have conversations, because it's going to lead to something greater. I'm excited. I hope you have loved this particular episode. Remember, we appreciate you, because without the Speak Easy podcast listeners, there is no Speak Easy podcast show. So make sure that you come join the conversation, bit.ly/World Voice Community. Join the free Facebook group so we can talk to you about what's going on next on the show, as well as some of the amazing guests that we've brought on for you. With that being said, I appreciate you. And as your host, Altavis Pelzer, I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.